The first lesson that I want to share with you all is that the startup world is not for everyone. Um, right now, startups are getting a lot of hype. And I think a lot of people in college are thinking that startups are the career that they want to pursue. And what I'll tell you is that unlike banking or being a lawyer or being a doctor, which there are many, many, many of those professionals. And I would argue that many of the skills are transferable. Um, being a startup founder is a little different. Being a startup founder is a lot harder. There's a lot higher chance of failure. And I think that people need to be really clear about this. If you got into law school and they told you that 99.9% of students in law school would not become lawyers, would not graduate and become lawyers, you'd ask for your money back. But 99.9% of people who decide to build a startup, a tech startup, are not successful. So I want to be more honest than I think a lot of people are about just how hard this is. And in my experience working with successful founders, it's interesting. I might describe them as somewhat broken. I think it's broken to choose a job that punches you in the face every day. I think it's broken to choose a job that causes you to trade off time with your family, with your loved ones, with your friends. I think it's a little broken to believe that you can have a massive impact on the world. And the reason why I used the term broken is because I don't think someone who starts a company necessarily should be celebrated or made a hero. I think that we're all a little different. And there are some people who are just naturally broken in a way that makes them better for the startup world. And for those people, getting punched in the face every day is tolerable. But for the vast majority of people, it's not. So the first lesson I want to share with you is just that. This is not a world for everyone. It's okay if this isn't a world for you. Right now, because this is such a popular thing to do, you might think that you should do it too. But if you're not enjoying it, if you don't have fun, if deep down inside you know that this isn't what you want to do, it's totally okay. Don't do it. I would never go to a high school and tell everyone that they should try to become a professional basketball player. And I would never go to a high school and tell everyone they should try to become a startup founder. It's not a reasonable career path. Number two, the second lesson is that your peers won't guide you when it comes to figuring out your startup. For most people who are young, a very effective strategy has been to put yourself with the smart group in school and do what they do. When you do that in middle school, you get tracked well in high school and you get to take AP classes. When you do that in high school, you get to go to good colleges. When you do it in college, you get an internship at Facebook or Google. But the problem is that in the startup world, your peers really aren't good guides. Almost none of them have any experience doing startups. And most of them are educating themselves in, let's just say they're not gaining any primary education. They're sharing with you viewpoints that are built off of reading someone's blog, watching someone's video, perhaps watching Shark Tank. These aren't really opinions that should impact you very much. And so one of the things that we really explain to YC founders is that even amongst a YC batch, and let's be clear, YC batches have under a 2% acceptance rate. Even amongst a YC batch, the vast majority of people will fail. And so this startup game is one of these games where you actually have to be significantly better than your peers. You actually have to do things that they don't, because the average startup fails. And so if you find yourself trying to figure out whether you have a good idea or not, or a good problem that you want to solve by talking to your peers, you're probably going to get the wrong information. If you find yourself asking your peers to use your product and they don't have the problem that your product solves, you're probably going to get bad feedback. If you find yourself asking your peers how you should go about fundraising or hiring, they're probably going to guide you in ways that are not very helpful. And so the question when you're a startup founder is, are you brave enough to break out of the strategy that's worked for you for so long? Are you brave enough to seek out direct sources of information with experience about the software startup world, as opposed to seek out the general opinion of your peers? Are you brave enough to work on a problem that your peers don't think is cool, that your peers think is stupid? Needless to say, there's a long history of YC companies, successful YC companies, including my own, that started with a problem or an idea that all of the founders' friends thought was wrong. Are you brave enough to do something that most of your friends think is wrong? If you're not, then this might not be the world for you. So, lesson 2, in many respects in the startup world, your peers won't guide you, they will guide you astray. And so you have to be really careful. Number 3, and I hinted at this before, the startup game is far more like sports than people talk about. There are a lot of people who play basketball around the world, and there are between 400 and 500 spots, I believe, in the NBA. So the vast majority of people who play basketball will never make the NBA. And then the vast majority of people who play basketball in the NBA will never be an NBA All-Star. Understand that's the game you're signing up for. You're signing up for a game that requires you to work extremely hard, you to get lucky, you to spend a lot of time working when you won't know whether the outcome will be good or bad. The folks who excel in sports are the folks who enjoy it so much, they're willing to make it a profession. They don't really focus on all of the accolades or the money or the kind of results of doing well. They actually like the process. They actually like practicing. They actually like going to the gym. They actually like the process. If you don't like the process of doing startups, if you don't like the process of coming up with a problem that you want to solve, building a product, talking to users not liking your product, iterating your product. If you don't like those things, if you're just wanting to fast forward to the end where you have reputation, esteem, fundraising, an exit, this is probably not the world for you. There's going to be someone in your space who will work harder and who will be more successful because they actually enjoy the work and they're not just in it for the end state. And so keep that in mind. This game is far more like sports and far less like a normal profession, doctor, lawyer, etc.